But you also agree that this does not really speak well of this democracy that we're trying to grow. You're having total registered voters over 1 million, and then you're having just over 600 coming out to have the for the actual count.
Now that will now speak to the need for more civic education.
Voter education.
Voters
Voter education. This
The
question of voter education has been ongoing for the past how many elections now? 6 elections.
Yeah,
and it hasn't worked.
At the point where PVCs were available.
Will work? What will work? How do we get more people to see the importance of this exercise?
In my view, is when our democracy starts yielding dividends that make difference in the lives of people. Because democracy in Nigeria has become a 4-year vacation, something we do every 4 years. And as soon as it's over, both the elected and the electorate, go back waiting for another 4-year cycle. What may even shock you more beyond the below 50% voter turnout is that if you look at the 14 political parties that vied for this presidential election and look at their membership base, all of them put together is less than 1 million in a country that is over 170 million. It's abysmal. And again, it's not something that is peculiar to Nigeria. It's actually a global problem, because even in the established democracies, if you look at the number of card-carrying members in those parties compared to the population of those countries, it's so minimal. So people are looking for alternative platforms of civic expression, other than political parties. In fact, I think it's in Brazil, they have an internet party. They are looking at a situation where this system of electing leaders have become anachronistic in a digital age. People are looking at the cyberspace as a platform for voting and being voted for, not the physical space that we go and vote. And that's why in many countries they are adopting many virtual voting mechanisms to attract the young population that find it difficult to come and vote.
Let's bring in the question of electronic voting. If that, maybe 2019, if maybe the, 8th Assembly, National Assembly, were to consider that option and see it to fruition, even though the PIB hasn't. If they say, yes, we will allow electronic voting, do you think that will in any way increase this figure?
One, it will reduce the time between voting and the actual announcement of the vote, which in our situation now we're looking at 48 hours. Another one, it will reduce incidences of this falsification of election result, because you're no longer dealing with manual codification of the result, because once you vote, it's instantly transmitted. But what we should not do, which is the challenges we're identifying now, is to implement it in one fell sweep.
The electronic voting?
Yes, if we adopt it. One is that we should stagger it. We should have a way of piloting it.
We didn't stagger this PVC. We brought it right on to the big one, the presidential elections.
Which is why we have problems, because we didn't have sufficient time to test run the card readers and imagine all kinds of scenarios where it will fail and prepare for them before we went into the most important elections in our country.
Do you foresee constraints if we go the way you are suggesting?
There's going to be a significant constraint, because we are in a society that is run, if you like, in analog manner. I mean, if you look at the internet penetration in Nigeria, it is still below 50%. So if you are going to do that, you need significant period of time to pilot it, get people comfortable to it before you roll out in a major general election. And thank God, with all the court cases that annulled gubernatorial elections in various states, we have elections in states now coming in between before the general election.
We understand.
It provides us opportunity of test running it.
We've just been told that there are 29 more pre-election cases by Chief Chakwa Sokorie. He thinks that these things will be decided, this election will be decided in the court.
We have a tradition of people going to court to, the litigation is an industry. Election litigation is an industry. We have that has produced a lot of billionaire lawyers. We do respect, and many of them actually, if you don't want to contest, some of them will come and tell you, look, under this section, there's actually something you can establish, and then they lure you to court. We do respect to lawyer colleagues. Nigeria electoral system is the most litigated in the whole of Africa. It will surprise you when Ghana own came, which was the first time, they came here to look at our electoral jurisprudence. and the emerging electoral jurisprudence in Africa today is borrowed from Nigeria. What we did here, beginning from 2003, were used in Kenya, it was used in Ghana, and all parts of Africa are copying it. How I wish that they are copying the right thing.
All right. Hey, no,
No,
sir,
but,
I mean,
sorry, but we have something going on, right? Because I think I remember in UK the other day where I was being asked by one of, I think, ITN's legal advisor, the kind of changes that we've made. That part where we allow cameras in the court, part of that tribunal, but then it didn't show the faces of judges. But they didn't at the time, and they thought that was something good for the judiciary.
Well, Kenya has gone even as far as publicizing the recruitment of judges. The current Chief Justice of Kenya, Willie Mutunga, who used to be a colleague in Ford Foundation, his recruitment was nationally televised. The interview, everything. So countries are moving into this open government, which we hope Nigeria will sign up to, so that citizens will be part of every aspect of
so maybe I guess Malaki wants to come into it, because one would think it's irrational to think that the less amount of litigation that trails a particular electoral process speaks about the integrity of the process.
Well, to a large extent it does, because quite frankly, when you remember election, you're also referring to a context. That context commences in the polling booth, but the Constitution, which is superior to the Electoral Act, reserves your right to litigate, to contest the propriety of what has happened there in a court of law. It is not for nothing that you have the entire judiciary. The judiciary is there to moderate the excesses of these other organs of government.
Even though the wheels grind slowly.
Well, it were better that it grinds slowly than to war. Now, let's put it this way. What would you have expected a candidate who went to a primaries, because I'm involved in a couple of pre-election matters, who went to a primaries, result declared, result sheet handed over to him, duly signed by all the party agents, yet the name of somebody who did not participate in that election is eventually released as a candidate of that party. What would you, I mean, you cannot be encouraging such a person either to sit back or even to carry arms against.
Do you feel along this line? Do you feel that the candidates so far at the national level, at the state levels, have been imposed on the people?
I mean, this was a common knowledge. What was widespread with the primaries conducted, you know, on virtually all the political was outright imposition of candidates against the people who want.
Can
you know what it does?
Can you relate this then to, for example, the high number of registered voters as to the cards that are collected?
Well, to a large extent, I've tried to lay the foundation when I said that, look, people before now don't believe in the integrity of the process. Even the one they conduct in their respective parties, because that is what leads to pre-election petitions. It is the content, the internal democracy that operates in those political parties. We're not credible enough as to guarantee the outcome of in relation to
Pardon me, guys, we need to jump to Accra.